would say whatever we ask you for, it's not because we just want you to go do extra work. It's because we need it to quote the account. Just whatever we ask, it's because we need it to be done. So communicate with us about what you need. We'll communicate with you about what we need, and maybe we can meet in the middle and write an account. To be patient, because our workloads are a lot different than yours are.
Welcome to Insurance Shoptalk. This is the podcast where the world of commercial insurance gets a little closer to home. I'm your host, Eric Stein, and in every episode, we're taking a deep dive into the insurance industry. From the latest news and trends to in-depth interviews with insurtech experts, carriers, and agency newsmakers, we're covering it all. So sit back, tune in, and let's start the conversation. I want to thank Jamie Shockley and Amy Berry with Mike Keith Insurance in Missouri for coming on. They're account managers there, and they're going to talk a little bit about their relationship with how to deal with producers, their relationships with producers, and get the most out of it to be happy on their part, especially. And then for producers, I think it's going to be a wake-up call for us, to hear what you guys really think, many times. But hey, thank you both for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, appreciate you having us.
Hope you guys had a good weekend. And I guess the Chiefs are still winning, right?
Yeah, they are. They're undefeated. We play tonight on Monday Night Football. So.
Oh, is it tonight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Tonight. We hope to continue that streak.
I'm going to text my buddies after this and go have a cocktail and watch that. They're like, they win. I don't know how you guys win all the time. Like, it always pulls it out at the 11th hour. It's Mahomes. That's what it is.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
They just like to keep us stressed out the whole game.
Runs it himself. Yeah.
Yeah. It's exciting games, though, that you guys play.
Yeah.
But, why don't we just kind of jump in and get started a little bit? Because like I said,
Sure.
I've worked from Insurance Solutions point, I've worked with you guys quite a bit. And I got to interact with Curtis, one of the producers you work with as well. And I've seen how you get along, and I haven't seen how you haven't gotten along, but I knew this would be a good.
Oh, well, you're in for a treat.
You got to deal with that's 2 against 1 for him, I know.
Yeah.
But he seemed like a laid back, cool dude too. I haven't gotten to meet him in person, but I'm definitely going to come up and gamble a little bit and then visit with you guys in the.
Good to meet you. Yeah.
But anyway, why don't we jump in and just kind of go through it? Kind of first of all, just in case, so we have some newer folks on the call that are just getting into insurance. Can you sort of, either Jamie or Amy, whoever wants to go first, give us a little background of what is account manager, what is their role, and why did you guys choose to do it? Why don't we start with Amy so we don't fight over each other?
So we have a large book of business where we insure large tow truck operations. Well, any size really. We will insure from 1 truck to 100 trucks. And I specifically have been at Mike Keith Insurance doing this for 15 years, and immediately kind of got thrown in with the producer that I'm with now, who was just starting to grow this book. And so I like to think it's a book that we've, grown together, and I like to take as much, and Jamie too. Jamie's been here for 10 years, as much accountability for the success of it, and I think he would say the same things as he does. So, we do everything from writing new business that he brings to the table, or that we have a marketing machine where we have a marketing company that helps us to get our name out. We advertise in magazines, we send postcards, we have several different marketing efforts. And so the business just kind of comes to us also. And so we do everything from take the first call to getting the quotes, as you know, with, we work with you, and to the final quote and putting it on the books and then servicing it afterwards. So there's a lot of different things we do, a lot of different roles that we play every day, and it's a busy book. So for sure.
Absolutely. That's great. Jamie, anything to add in on that? Kind of what brought you to be an account manager and your role?
Well, I started with Mike Keith, like Amy said, about 10 years ago, and I came on as a servicing kind of role just to kind of help the desk underwriters out and Amy out. And it's kind of, my role developed where now I help underwrite and take the information, get the quotes, and service those accounts as well. It's just always evolving, and like Amy said, lots of different roles.
Yeah. And this was
Absolutely.
the first insurance job I had. So I didn't, I was new to insurance when I came to Mike Keith. I had actually worked in telecommunications, and years ago I worked in major market radio after I got out of school. So I was completely new to insurance. And I think Jamie was the same way. I don't know if anybody ever starts out, I'm going to be an insurance agent. Maybe some people do. I didn't. But I'm, glad that I fell into it. It's definitely a good job and lots of job security. So,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, having someone with experience like you two is very invaluable. It's hard for agencies to find your role, I know, and the
yeah.
producer role are the two hardest to place, just from talking to
Oh,
agent
yeah.
principals and just what I deal with, you know.
Yeah. It's a struggle to find people for sure. We keep growing, and it's been a struggle to find people to come and help for sure.
Yeah, because you can't just get your license and know everything that you guys know at this point. So you've always
Right.
got to hire somebody with at least 5, 6+ years experience minimum, to
It's years. It's,
yeah.
3, 4 years before somebody can function the way that someone with a lot of experience can. So it's a long road to get someone ready to be really helpful for sure.
Especially all the different lines with auto, GL,
Yeah.
the requirements from each of the vendors or the
Yeah.
clients. I mean, it's just I can't take that I got to stay with workers' comp. I got to keep it simple.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me
It's
personally.
nice to have some
Well, not
tunnel
only
vision
that,
in what
like,
you're doing.
yeah, and not only that, like, insurance keeps changing. It changes and evolves, and you learn new things constantly. As soon as you think you've got something, they change it again.
Yep.
Oh, I definitely see that. And the carriers are sort of in and out of the markets and industries, and it's just like a
Yep.
bedlam, keeping track of what's going on. As far as like working with the producers, I wanted to get this out there, for account managers who are listening and producers who are listening to sort of know like what some of the best practices, the do's and don'ts that you guys have learned over the years through Hard Knocks of how to best communicate with the producer so that you guys are making money for the agency together, and thriving together and hopefully enjoying work with each other. I've seen it go on both ways, great ways with you guys and working with Curtis and the production team there. And then I've seen the opposite with other producers who are just clashing, with their account manager. And it doesn't help anybody. So what is there any kind of, advice you can give or some do's and don'ts, best practices, whoever wants to start?
I think a lot of where our success has come from is because we know each other. We know him so well. Um, you know, Producers a lot of times are living their lives in their cars, right? Because they're on the road. And I think he depends on us to help keep him organized. And sometimes I don't mind that. And sometimes I feel like, why can't you get it together, and figure out where you're going today? But I try to bite my tongue a lot on that because I do realize it's frustrating looking at your emails on your phone. I've tried to, expecting him to go here and there and remember where he's supposed to be next or what renewals we have next. And so I think it's just, once you worked with someone so long, you kind of learn their ebbs and flows. And, he knows he probably shouldn't call me before 10 in the morning. I'm not a morning person. So for the first couple hours of the day, I'm still trying to just accept the fact that I'm at work and that I've got all this on my plate today. And so if he calls me before 9, especially, it's not, so he tries not to do that unless it's something really important. So, I think it's just knowing each other's work habits and the priorities of the day, and then how to get along with each other. Because, we've definitely not gotten along a lot, but in the end, what happens in the heat of working on an account isn't anything personal. It's just that, his paycheck depends on keeping that on the books or putting it on the books. And in the end, really, so does mine. We're going to be better together if we're successful. And so I always try to keep that in the back of my mind, they may be hard getting there, but there's going to be more to celebrate in the end if we can work together good.
How about you, Jamie?
Communication is key. I mean, we're on the phone or emailing constantly, you know, trying to make sure everything's correct and current and everybody's up to date and on the same page. Like Amy said, if we work together, it's better and just makes things flow a lot better.
Yeah.
Is it kind of known that you are going to handle a lot of the minutia of updating the payrolls, updating premise information, that he's going to be out more building a relationship, trying to, canvas, get new deals? I mean, is that sort of a known thing between you two, between you three?
Yeah, he doesn't really sit at a desk and he doesn't access our agency management system. His role will be to either meet with an insured on a preliminary basis and gather the information that we need to quote, and then work with us on that process of getting everything we need, every questions from underwriters. If I don't already know that information and I need him to go back to the risk to get it, he'll do that. But I really enjoy getting a detailed application from him with everything I need, including loss runs, where I can just spend my time putting it together. That's not what we always get. Sometimes we just get 3 pieces of information in an email, and we're kind of left to struggle to get the rest of it. So yeah, that's basically our roles. Is he brings in the information and then we get the quotes and he sells it. So, and then we would be responsible after that to upkeep the account, to service it on a daily basis, to make sure our system's accurate, and then to get it ready for the renewal, when it comes that time for that.
So then if it comes in missing info, then he's pretty much anticipating that you are going to contact the client directly with his information and gather the missing info and finish the app up, right? And data.
Yes. It isn't always like that. There are some times where I'm going to say, I need you to call and get this, or, you didn't get any building information for the property and I'm just not going to chase it today. So I need you to do that, because I feel like that's the producer's job, is to chase the information, and it's our job to put it together into a quote. And, sometimes it is just easier for us to call and do it ourselves, to get it from the insured ourselves. And what I find about that is it also introduces your service team to a risk before an account's written. And I think if they start to feel comfortable with your service team beforehand, you're almost more likely to sell it. And so that is kind of a team way that we, hey, I'm Amy and I work with Curtis. I know he was just there, and I might even do a little play like, of course he didn't get everything I needed, so this is what I need, and so it kind of makes it a little playful to show the human side of our relationships. And then it helps to introduce our service team sometimes to their girl in the office, who is the one. Sometimes you have to win that girl in the office over even more so than the owner of the company in some ways. So we do kind of play with that a little bit, and I think that works to our advantage.
That's awesome. Yeah, Jamie, anything to add to that?
No, I agree with her 100%. A lot of times for especially a new account that comes to us, he'll go out and gather the information. We may have to go back and get additional information, and it does put us in that communication with that risk. Just kind of opens up the line of communication with them, so they're more comfortable with us when they need something or have questions. They can come to us instead of going through him at service time later. Kind of just cuts him out, and now we're handling it.
Got it. And then, are you guys using some of the newer tech tools right now? I've heard some agencies using, forgot some of the names of the services, but basically a link where the client can log in to sort of fill in data that then will actually fill out accords and go right to the agency management systems. Have you guys had a need to add that yet or not yet?
Yeah, we do not have anything like that. It's still a very manual basis for us. It's still, the producer sometimes writing it on a piece of paper or filling out an email and just sending us. When you work in a niche, you really know the things that you need to write an account, right? So he can pretty much just throw it all into an email to us, or he might take just an application to one of our carriers and fill it out to get more specific. And a lot of times if we might send a blank application to the risk themselves and say, hey, please fill this out and send it back to us. But yeah, no, that sounds great though. I'd love for a risk to be able to fill something out for it to automatically populate in a court application. That sounds great. Really, the thing we're using right now is we use Salesforce, and that's a way for us to update the status of an account we're working on, and then for our producers to see it real time. I like that for them. For us, it kind of adds another step to our process that, I could do without, but in the end, if it makes the communication better, if it saves a phone call of where we at on this, if you could just look at Salesforce and see where we're at on it, then that sounds good to me.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we use Salesforce too at Insurance Solutions, and also like Automate 365, another CRM for insurance. And we're just testing that one out now, but it really helps, a ton, just not having to do the back and forth. But yeah, I got to say, myself included, our producers, sales team, they'd rather just email or text you guys, to get the answer,
Right. Yeah.
And we're used to that.
Yeah.
But that is interesting that like you see it absolutely and as the producer's role is to get that initial information in the field that is not, and then so you guys can just take it and go do what you do in terms of marketing the account and putting it all together. But that what so as long as it's like 70-80% of the time it's coming in like that, you're okay with this 20-30% that it's not, right? Is that?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, we have a few other producers that might jump in every once in a while, and they all do things a little bit differently. And so we have one producer that will send the most beautiful application to you. It's all filled in. You don't have to chase any information. You don't have to ask him anything. And that's kind of refreshing sometimes, So I'll take it any way we can get it. I mean, I understand people work differently. But yeah. And I don't mind chasing a little bit of the information myself. At least I know it's going to be accurate that way if I got it straight from the horse's mouth. So
No, that makes sense. Yeah. So like any advice you would give like to a brand new producer, like having a strong relationship, other than obviously get the app, get as much info, be very detailed. That's number one. But anything else that you would give as an advice?
I would say whatever we ask you for, it's not because we just want you to go do extra work. It's because we need it to quote the account. Just whatever we ask, it's because we need it to be done. So communicate with us about what you need. We'll communicate with you about what we need, and maybe we can meet in the middle and write an account. To be patient, because our workloads are a lot different than yours are. You might be working on 2 or 3 big accounts, and we're working on those accounts too, but we're also managing your entire book of business to keep it for you, to keep working it. So, I think lots of producers will be like, well, why can't you drop and work on this? What else are you doing? They don't realize, I don't think they realize the work that goes into managing a book this size. So that's what I would, tell a new producer coming in, is just to realize that we're busy from the time we sit down to the time we get up, and could probably work all night into the next morning and still not be caught up to where we need to be, and just have a little grace, on our response time sometimes, and how quickly we can get things done. And I'm sure Jamie can attest to that too.
Definitely. I mean, a lot of times they call and want it done right then, but we could be in the middle of apping something out for them, or renewing another piece of business, or deleting trucks, drivers. I mean, there's a lot of service that goes on behind the scenes that they don't understand.
So trying to speak to you on a very kind of a regular basis about like what's your workload like right now. If there is something urgent, make sure it is truly urgent. Don't put 911 on it. If it's can wait. It's to kind of show that back and forth of respect. But like you said, in their mind or our minds, it's like our priority is what we think is our priority, is not seeing what you guys do. So you having to tell them about your workload occasionally, I guess. It's not like you're complaining, you're like letting them know what you're doing, right?
Right.
You know, you don't want to have to say, do you have any idea what I have going on my desk right now? You know, like you shouldn't have to stop and say, these are all the things I'm working on. You know, it would be nice if sometimes it was like, hey, when you get a chance, can you get this done? Or whatever you have on your plate today, I'd appreciate if you made this a priority instead of, you know, demands. Sometimes they come in demands, and I have to try to be like, you know, think there's some stress involved on his side as well. You know, we're getting ready to deliver a really big renewal increase in the next 2 days. And we had an incident this morning and there was some stress involved. And he asked me a question about the account. And I said, I don't know that off the top of my head. And he kind of snapped, well, I need it right now. Well, I was right in the middle of doing 2 or 3 things, you know? So, I try to give him some grace because I know that it's going to be a difficult presentation for him in 2 days. Even though I'll be there with them, so it'll be difficult for me too. So, you know, but there's some stress leading up to that. So you just got to kind of, you know, go with the flow sometimes and try to get it all done without getting into a big altercation over it. So.
Hey everybody, it's Eric. I just want to pop in for a quick announcement. Exciting news. I just launched my new book on Amazon. It's called The Blueprint, an insurance agency's unconventional rise to the top. And it goes through a little bit about how I built the agency Insured Solutions since 2009 to today. And the blueprint in terms of how I actually did it with the tech stack, the offshore, nearshore talent, and digital marketing techniques that I use. So pick up a copy today on Amazon. Thanks, guys. Right now, I can definitely see that stress factor, or especially on a big increase. And so yeah, talk about renewals then. What is your agency? How do you guys handle it? Are you the front line on the renewals at first, and then you know, bring in the producer to get more updated info, or do you get the updated info, or how does that work?
Right now we're the front lines. We get the updated info, and you know, we like to start, our goal would be to start 120 days out. You know, some carriers accept it at 120, but you know, this is a very competitive book of business. We always have competition. And so our goal is to constantly not to get beat to market, you know, because we get blamed for not blocking that market and losing that account for the producer. So, you know, our goal is to get it out 120 days. Right now, you know, we're not always 120 days out. We're not even always 60 or 30 days out. But yeah, that it's completely our role. Unless now, if we do step in and say, hey, I need your help getting this information, you know, they will do it. But for the most part, it's our responsibility to get the new information and get it out to market.
And do you actually, when you do run into issues, are you kind of like at this point, because you're a long-term relationship, are you like brothers and sisters and family, you'll go ahead and nip it in the bud and just explain to whoever the producer is, hey, here's what's going on right now. I can't get this done to this day. And then, or if you guys had brother-sister fights, you know.
Oh yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
I said that this morning after we went back and forth on this big account, later on we laughed about it. And he even said the words, you know, we argue like brother and sister sometimes. And, you know, it is what it is. You know, I don't ever take anything too personally. And I know he doesn't either. So in the end, we're just both, we have the same goal, right? To keep the account on the books as smoothly as possible, or to write the account. Whatever happens in between, you just kind of forget about as soon as it happens.
How about you, Jamie? You kind of nip it in the bud with them, or do you ever let it linger because you just don't want to get into
I
it?
might stew on it a day or two, but no, we usually get over it pretty quick.
Jamie's more of a grudge
We've
holder.
Yeah.
Jamie's more of
But
a
we've
grudge
worked
holder
together
than
long
I am.
enough, you know, I know to let a lot roll off too.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if you have a new producer come in, it doesn't sound like you sound like you kind of primarily work with just one or so, but you'll have to like get them up to speed quick on what they expect to work with you, I assume, right?
Yes. Yeah, and I think they pretty much know how we like to deal with business when other producers come in. We don't do a whole lot with other producers, but when they do come in, typically they bring, you know, the full information, or we can go back to them and they can gather it for us. Or sometimes Curtis may rely on us a little bit more because he's used to us doing that and taking that initiative. So that can be a little bit different dealing with a different producer.
And so is that common where you double present, like you guys help present the renewal with the producer? Is it only with a big increase or is it pretty much every time?
I think that for us, it depends on the size of the account. I mean, there are, we have over 500 accounts. So there are accounts that he doesn't even know really are renewing, that we're just renewing and doing ourselves, right? We're presenting virtually. But on the big accounts, we do go out with him just because, I think that it presents an opportunity for us to be in front of our clients that we work with on a daily basis. I talked about the relationship with the girls in the office. Well, here now we can really meet each other because they're there. We talk to the insureds more than he does. Because this is a high service book. I mean, these guys are constantly buying new trucks, hiring drivers. And so these big accounts, I might talk to specific accounts every day where he doesn't touch them every day. So, yeah, on big accounts that we definitely go out with him and we'll help present or even help present a piece of new business if it's one we've worked really hard on it. And then, to be honest, we know more about the accounts than the producers do because, I can probably, you can name my top 10 accounts and I could tell you by memory how many locations they have, what lines of coverage we have, and their expiration dates, just because I'm in front of them every single day. And that's something he can't do. So sometimes they're going to ask questions that he just doesn't know because he doesn't work that account every day like we do. So I think it's a good idea to bring your account manager, especially do a big renewal with you.
Well,
Jamie, I'm sure you feel the same way.
Yes.
And then the smaller ones you could do, like you said, by Zoom but you like he doesn't even attend some of those, then you will just take care of the smaller accounts, right? And become
Oh,
like
yeah.
quasi producer on that.
Yeah. I would say probably 70% of our book we renew on our own. Wouldn't you say, Jamie? Yeah.
I'd say at least that.
Yeah. I mean, for one thing, it would be impossible for him to be everywhere every day. Every time something renews, we could have 30 renewals a month. He obviously can't get physically in front of all those renewals himself. So we kind of pick and choose, he'll call at the beginning of the month and he'll say, just this morning, he's like, well, what do we have coming up? And I'll say, well, the ones that you need to worry about are this, this, and this. And those are the ones that are big enough where he needs to be in front of them or present them himself.
Well, that makes sense.
Mhm.
So yeah, so then if I guess if something blows you didn't expect on the call on the renewal, that's when you'll pull Curtis back in, the producer.
Oh, yeah. If something's gone wrong, and Jamie could probably speak to that more than me because most of the accounts that I handle, he does get in front of. But Jamie handles probably more renewals on her own than I do. So I'll kind of let her speak to that.
Yeah, I mean, typically I'll talk to the insured and, get updated information to handle that renewal, get the renewal quote in, present it to him. If there's issues, we'll kind of try to hash it out back and forth. If it's something where I feel like he needs to go, or if it's a large increase, or if they've added maybe property and we really need to get eyes on it, then I can talk to him and be like, I need you to get in front of them.
Got it. No, that makes sense totally. And then so it seems like all your styles are very collaborative. Just from what I've worked with you both, so I think that I've seen some other personality types though, where, one or the other is just either the account manager or the producer is just really high strung. If you, any advice for anybody, I know y'all are not like that, but any advice for, let's say, an account manager that's more like, you need to be completing everything. I'm not, I'll chip in occasionally, but I don't have time. And, that kind of attitude, I've heard that just from afar, any advice that you could give back to an account manager who sort of comes at it like that?
I do know account managers like that. I know an account manager who you forgot the FEIN on the application and she'll just send an email to the producer saying I need an FEIN. And if that producer doesn't see that email, it's gridlock. And 30 days later, there's no quote. And it all goes back to that account manager just refusing to go after that FEIN on their own or submit it. I know work comp's different, but for a package, you can say, hey, FEIN's pending, and they'll go ahead and start it, But yeah, I just think that we all have goals to meet. You're never going to be successful if you put every single thing to do on one person. When you work together, everybody shares in the responsibilities, and there might be some days where I need more help getting this information, so I'm gonna go back to the producer. But there are some days when he's busy and he's gonna need more help, and I can jump in. There is no I in team, so I think if you take a team approach with it and everybody work to the same end, then you're going to be way more successful. I don't know, we kind of gauge our success on our new business at the end of the year, and so I want to be successful too, and that's not going to happen if I just sit and wait for everything to come to me.
Jamie, anything that you would give as advice to like that petty type of?
No, I mean, I agree. We like to write business here. We like to keep our business. So we're going to do what it takes to do that and meet our goal. If that's us working a little bit more, or having a little bit more back and forth with an insured or a new risk, then that's just what we do. And that's just, Amy trained me that way, I guess. So I have kind of her same outlook on it. Like, don't just sit back and wait on it when you can go get it.
Makes sense. Yeah, because it does sometimes if it's the account manager acting more like an operations person, they see this as, okay, you're giving me all this extra work to do, extra stress, and they don't have a sales mindset, I guess, more operational, and because they chose the account manager role because they didn't want to probably cold call and go out in front of clients, in some cases, that might be their reasoning, or just they enjoy this role better too, obviously. But I think that comes across when I see it from afar, this clash, on that. And without really getting specific about your incentives, is there an incentive, or do those work where financially the account manager gets incentive for retention or to assist with new business? I mean, does that exist in this retail world these days?
Yeah, it does exist in our world, and that's a great incentive. We do like to write new business. We're very competitive in this office. So, we have kind of these other agencies who, like, of our nemesis agencies that we go up against, that we don't like to get beat by, and we love to take their business from them. And that's just the way we've always been. And I do agree, there are some people just aren't salespeople. I think that I am, and I think Jamie is. And I know sometimes you'll hire someone and they are just back office, they are good at pushing paper through, and we do need people like that. But I think it does help if you can get an account manager who likes to sell, who enjoys that competitive aspect of it, and definitely, throwing a new business bonus or a retention bonus in, sets a goal for us to work toward. And I know it works for me. So,
well, I know I'm very competitive. You put an incentive in front of me, I'm going to go after it.
Yeah. Well, this is fun. So Jamie, we had a carrier we were working with last month, and they just had some silly incentive where if you put like one piece of new business with them, you got it was like a camping theme. You got a backpack, and then for 2 pieces, it was for the whole agency, 2 pieces of new business, you got like a fire pit, and then up to like 5, you got all this like camping equipment. And Jamie was like, saw that and saw those prizes. And Jamie was the only one in the whole agency that placed any business with them. And she got every single prize. And that carrier drove all these prizes. And our whole lobby out here was filled with like all these camping supplies that Jamie won. So yeah, there's nothing like a good incentive. You give us even something silly, like we had a finance company once give us $25 for every account we tried to push through, like pay my premiums digitally, and we would push those through. We were getting checks every quarter, so they finally had to end it. So yeah, there's not, we like a good incentive, and I think that's a good way to get people sales minded,
Yeah.
is by, because the fact of the matter is, when there's a producer who's on commission, sometimes it can be tough to write this big piece of new business, and you are a big part of it, of making them this huge amount of money this year. It's hard to sit back and be like, well, there you go, and not get anything. So, we all know the way commission works, and it's nice to be a part of it for sure.
So you'd recommend agencies then at least have some incentive structure, doesn't have to be a ton, but something
Yes.
to put the alliance together between so it's not this operations versus sales mentality
Yeah.
so you guys are, there's some financial gain, whether it's,
Yeah.
he's out hunting and pecking, so he should get the majority with the producer.
Yeah. Okay. Absolutely. Because he's not going to be successful without us, without what we do here, right? And then we're not going to be successful in running the business without the business that he's bringing in. So I think it makes sense to have some kind of bonus structure or incentive plan for the people at the desk who are helping you write the new business.
Got it. Got it. No, I think that's great. Have you guys ever thought about switching roles and becoming a producer at any time, or you just really like what you're doing now? I'm just curious if that ever enters the mind of an account manager.
Yeah. I think, just the other day we had this conversation is as our book grows, because he can't be every place at once. He said to me, it may be that I'm in St. Louis and you have to go handle this one in Springfield. It just may work out that way. And I do go on, and Jamie goes on, we do go on several renewals. And so I would feel comfortable with that. So yeah, I think that, I sometimes call myself a desk producer because I really feel like sometimes I'll say, hey, we wrote this piece of new business, and the producer doesn't have any idea that it was even in play, but it's part of his book because this is like a snowball machine that he built, right? Of people calling and our marketing efforts. And so, without us selling from the desks, we sell every day from our desks. It wouldn't be nearly as successful as it is. So I wouldn't mind going out. I don't think I would want to be 100% a producer. I think I would want to keep like this role where I do both.
How about you, Jamie? Any thought about, since you're competitive like you are, going out being a or a good combo, or you like what you're doing? Just
Yeah, I like the combo. We deal with the accounts one-on-one so much already as it is. It's nice to get in front of them instead of just being on the phone or back and forth with email, to get in front of them and, get a face-to-face and go over the renewal with them. And then they really get that personal experience with us. And then whenever they do call in or have an issue, they know the other person on the other end. They have that communication already with us. So it's a little more personal than, somebody tweets in the producer out and then we only hear from them, at renewal. It's better for us, I feel like, with that communication, to have that line constant. I don't know that I'd like to switch the roles all the time, though.
right, kind of combo, like you said. And I guess you're getting out of it by doing the renewals in a way. That's a sale approach,
Yeah.
We are all together a really great team, and we have these cogs that are really well oiled, and I know what he expects of me. He knows what we expect of him. And, sometimes I feel like he might expect a little more than what I'm willing to give in that current day. And, we can always tell each other's moods. I know that he's stressed out today. He knows I don't like mornings, and that clashed this morning. So, if you can laugh about it in the end and, like I said, stop and give, just really, we're all friends, right? We've worked together for a long time. And in the end, that's the most important relationship. This will all fade away one day, and just give each other grace. And everybody's going through something that particular day and time, especially this is a stressful industry. People wouldn't think that. I wouldn't think from the outside that it was, but it definitely can be.
I mean, even if you got it dialed in the way you two and have it with your producers, it's not that ops versus sales and everything that we describe as negative. That's pressure. It's the carriers just changing everything like we were speaking about earlier, all the time, and getting out of the industry, especially in what you're doing with towing and some other niches and transportation. It is, it's just like, you can't, they're on this treadmill. You just can't get ahead sometimes, because they're the ones, I think, that make it the most stressful. But that's just the name of the game, and the competition.
Oh yeah, we, are dealing right now with one of our largest brokers that we have a lot of business with, just lost their carrier, and 8-1. I mean, they have a replacement carrier, but let me tell you, their increases are crazy, you know, for no reason. So we're battling. This account this morning has $175,000 increase, and their losses don't warrant that. And it's hard to walk in and tell this customer this what it is. It's a hard market. You know, you didn't do anything wrong, but a lot of other people did, and so now you're going to have to pay for it. You know, it's a tough pill to swallow. And a lot of these guys,
they still blame you, like
they still blame us, right? Because the brokers aren't the ones, you know, offense, in front of the insureds delivering these premiums, you know. So yeah, we're battling right now. We have a renewal that's on the 8th, and it's really tough right now. You know, work comp's really soft right now, and that's great. But commercial auto is really, really hard. It's the hardest that I've seen it in the 15 years that I've been in insurance. And commercial property is really terrible right now. You know, our monoline property markets are all but dried up. And, you know, we live in Missouri and Kansas. We have a lot of business in Missouri and Kansas, and these carriers don't want to write. They want to exclude windstorm and hail completely from the policies. I mean, you've got theft and fire left, and you want to charge all these crazy premiums, but you don't want to give any coverage. And so it's a struggle right now. It's a struggle for us to find the coverage. And then you've got your producer pushing you to find something else, and there just isn't anything else available. And with tow trucks, there's a finite amount of carriers even willing to write a tow truck account. There are more work comp markets now, but it used to be we used to have 2 work comp markets that would do it at all. And so that's better, but on the commercial auto side, it's really tough right now.
P&C agents, have you run into Byberg, which is a Berkshire Hathaway company quoting workers' comp for either your prospects or clients? Well, great news. Insured Solutions, a national MGA, has an appointment that is set up to allow you to quote, bind, and service Byberg at your agency. And the coverage is in all states. It's A-rated. Startups are even accepted. There's $125,000 maximum premium. And some of the tough industries they write are construction, transportation, that includes towing and parcel delivery, manufacturing, security guards that are armed and unarmed, motor mediation, and many more. So go to our website at insuredsolutions.net, click the Get Appointed link. We'll get you logins for you and your team, and can set up a webinar for training if you'd like. Also, feel free to email info@insuredsolutions.net, and I can handle the submission myself, or call 770-402-5343. Be glad to speak to you and give you more detail. Thanks. Oh yeah, I'm hearing that across the board. You know, we do mainly work comp and insurance solutions, as you know, but yeah, definitely I've heard that as well. And then also, I didn't ask earlier, but when you're doing your renewals, are you also trying to cross-sell, or is that more of a producer role? How does that work with your agency?
You know, we'll try to cross-sell their work comp or their property. Sometimes after we write a package, a couple months into it, you know, we might say, hey, you know, you've got a lot of certificates. What about your work comp? Do you have to go to this other agent for your work comp? And sometimes just for the ease of certificates, they'll have us add their work comp onto it at their renewal. So yeah, we always try to cross-sell whatever other lines of business they might have, or to sell new lines. Like, we're really big on EPLI, making sure all of our guys have at least been offered EPLI, or right now we're in the talks about trying to do the same thing with cyber, because cyber's been so big lately. But yeah, we at least like to make sure we offer it. We don't want to get into a situation where they have a claim and we never offered the coverage, and then you could kind of be in the hot seat for not counseling them on what they should have. So yeah, we do try to cross-sell as much as we can. And that could be him when he's presenting a renewal, or it could be us when we're renewing the accounts where we're the only ones that touch them too.
Right, I know a lot of the dates don't coincide sometimes with the other lines, but that could be good or bad to give you more time to discuss it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Like Amy said, a lot of times we'll we may get a certificate that's requiring them to have work comp and they don't. And, we'll try to, at that moment, reach out to them and is this something, you would like to pursue? Here's what we need to get a quote for you.
Makes sense. Makes total sense. Well, no, hey, you guys have been really generous with your time. I really appreciate it. And any other final thoughts or parting comments, or did we get? I think we kind of covered quite a bit, to be honest.
I think, we've covered a lot, it's just, you have good working relationships, you have bad ones, but you're with your producer. I think a lot of account managers start out with being them versus us. And I know we tried not to do that in our department. Sometimes I'll hang up and, what a jerk, but I try not to say it to him because,
Right.
there's no reason to make things super tense, but some account managers are just against the producer no matter what. And I do know those, and we have those, and there's really no need for that. You're going to be more successful as a group, if you just tell them what you expect and work together, and try to help each other get that business on the books or keep it on the books.
Oh yeah, my career, I've gotten stuck with the ones that aren't the sales minded and more of the, I was like, oh my God, I didn't have control over that decision. It was
Yeah.
just assigned. And so to a producer, it is a heartbreaker, and then knowing there's people like you and you and Jamie and the other seats next to them that are doing it the right way. And, which is more appreciated just because, we want to sell, right? So.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
We do
Yeah.
have some of those producers will come and bring a piece of business to us. It's not something we should be handling. They're like, we just need you to do it.
Yeah. And sometimes we'll sneak it in for him, but then you have Curtis who gets upset because he wants you to focus on his things, but
Yeah, like, don't
they
get
see us
distracted.
writing business and they see us being successful. And so they want to come and bring us what they have. And every once in a while, we don't mind it. It depends on how busy we are. So.
Oh, excellent. Well, again, thanks for your time. And also, I don't know if you're readers, I got a shameless plug. I just finished my first book. It's called The Blueprint.
Oh, nice.
So I'll make sure to get you guys a copy, at least a digital one if
Yes.
you want as
Yeah.
well. But it really, this was kind of the background of how I started Insured Solutions, my journey in the beginning, like why I started it and how it was very turbulent, sort of what we're talking about with these carriers coming in the market, in and out because of the time, alternative market work comp carriers were just going in, out, losing their ratings. And I had to roll different books, kind of what you're going through now. And then the last half of the book is more about to an agency, to a producer's account managers, principals, a blueprint literally of like what I did with technology, with offshore, nearshore, digital marketing to, create the business and then sell it to a private equity firm, partially sell it to a private equity firm called Stone Point Capital. So I'm excited about that. It's on Amazon. So, but I'm going to get you guys a copy just a thank you for the podcast. I'll send it to
Yes.
the office.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Thank
We'd love to
you.
read it. Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you so much. Well, go Chiefs. Thank you very much. I'll go to watching my buddies tonight. I know
Yeah,
they're
do
going to
that.
win anyway. They're going to just win. I mean,
Yeah, they're gonna win. We'll be 8-0
That's right.
tonight.
like why even? I'm going to start betting on it now. On the Chiefs. I mean,
Yeah. In fact, tomorrow, in case you haven't heard, tomorrow's election day. One of the things we're voting on in Missouri is sports betting.
oh,
So yeah. So they just passed it in Kansas, and I know like my sons will drive over there right across the straight line after work to post some bets and come back. So it'd be exciting to have that over here too.
yeah, they
So,
haven't done it in Georgia yet either. So I got to get a buddy who like lives in Arizona to do it. When I
yeah.
do it. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, you guys have a great rest of the week. It's been a pleasure working with you too, by the way. I
too.
won't tell Curtis that
Thank
too much.
you.
He might, get scared.
Yeah, don't tell him.
He might scare you.
He'll actually
I'm
think
gonna-
we work, huh?
Yeah.
take you away. Yeah. But you guys have a great rest of the week, and thanks again for being part of the podcast. I appreciate it. I know it's helped a ton of people.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Eric.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
Thanks again for tuning in to Insurance Shop Talk. If you enjoyed our deep dive into the latest trends, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. Until next time, I'm Eric Stein, and this has been Insurance Shop Talk.